Today on Lost,
In geography class.
we are going to learn about the rock cycle. Yay! To help us learn about the rock cycle, we can ask some rocks to help us out.
Hey Magma, can you help us out?
Sure, we'll help you explain the rock cycle.
We are the rock cycle. Right now, we are in the premature stage of every rock. We are magma, but
Once we get close to the surface, we cool and harden and form a rock called igneous rock.
Well, how do you do it?
Well, it's getting pretty cold outside. Let's just go and show you.
now that we learned a little bit more about the rock cycle and how igneous rock is formed,
Pop quiz!
what has happened when heat is reapplied to igneous rock?
Well, you turn back into magma.
Correct.
Igneous rock can be weathered and eroded through wind, water, ice, and temperature, and is then deposited and turns into sediments.
What are sediments?
Well, good question. Sediments are small miniature pieces of broken down rock or debris. When rocks are weathered and eroded, they break down, kind of like this. Now they're sediments.
When sediment undergoes an enormous amount of pressure, they turn into
Sedimentary rocks. See, as they apply pressure, they become sedimentary rocks.
like this.
To show an even better example of sedimentary rock, let's head over to our lab.
Welcome to our rock lab. Today we have made 4 different sandcastles, each containing different elements to see which one would make the best glue to hold the sediments together and make the strongest sedimentary rock. What sandcastle did you make?
Sandcastle number 1.
And what is it made out of?
Salt water and sand.
What's your hypothesis?
I don't think the salt water would be able to hold the sediments together
Why?
because the salt water doesn't act as a good base for the sediments. It's not strong enough.
Okay, let's test it out. Your conclusion?
My conclusion is that salt water is not a good component to use for holding together sand in sandcastle.
Castle is yours, and what is it made out of?
I am sandcastle number 2, and it is made out of sand, water, and plaster of Paris.
Do you think it will be? Do you think it's a strong sandcastle? What's your hypothesis on it?
I think it will be a strong sandcastle because the plaster of Paris and the water both together create a strong glue to hold the sediments together.
Test out your hypothesis.
Clearly, it's very strong.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your conclusion?
My conclusion is that plaster of Paris and water is a perfect glue for sedimentary rock.
Nice.
What's sandcastle number and what is it made out of?
So this is sandcastle number 3. It's made out of sand, soil, and water.
And what's your hypothesis?
My hypothesis is that it's not going to be very strong because the sand and soil and water are not a very good adhesive to hold it together.
All right, let's test out your theory. What's your conclusion?
I was right because the sand and soil weren't very strong. It didn't help the sediment stick together.
What sandcastle number did you make and what is it made out of?
This is sandcastle number 4. It's made out of water, plaster of Paris, sand, and soil.
And what's your hypothesis?
I believe that it'll be a really strong structure because when plaster and water together, they create like a sticky tap, and then when they dry, it hardens and solidifies, and it's pretty sturdy, and I think it'll act as a really good adhesive.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so I think that's gonna work. So I don't want to break your counter. So I think
All right.
that was right.
What's your conclusion?
I think my hypothesis was right, and it was pretty strong. Didn't really break that much except for one part. Sedimentary rock can be weathered and eroded right back into sediments.
Now that we're sedimentary rock, where do we go from here?
Well, from here, we can reapply heat and pressure and become magma again. The blow dryer acts as the heat. See? And now we're magma again.
So as you just saw, the sedimentary rock went through extreme heat and pressure, also known as metamorphism, and turned into magma.
Sedimentary and igneous rocks, when they undergo an enormous amount of heat and pressure, can turn into metamorphic rocks. So metamorphic rocks are basically a changed rock. It is formed by the alteration of pre-existing rocks.
From here, we're metamorphic rock, and we can go in two directions. We could A, weather, erode, and deposit back into sediments, or
B, we can melt back into magma again.
Thanks for watching! Tune in next time for Plate Tectonics. We'll see you next time on Lost.
in geography class. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Bye.